I could not be more proud to introduce Toni today. Your story is basically the stuff of legend. You started with one product, makeup pencils.
Right.
So how did you know where to start? Where did you get like the confidence that a 25-year-old would have to start on this path? What did you bring to the table?
When I started, it was just a small, tiny little company. I started at a 600 square foot showroom. I didn't even have a warehouse. I was borrowing this small corner, maybe the size of this stage warehouse that was on the second floor of my mother's business, because I didn't want to rent the warehouse because I didn't want to create any extra expenses. And this space didn't even have elevator. So and then each boxes were 38 pounds. So I would lug those 38 boxes up and down the stairs. But you know what? I loved every minute of it. And every time I was going up and down the stairs, I'm like, hey, free gym. I don't have to go work out today. I can eat those extra tacos.
Oh
So
my
it's
God.
how you spin it, right? It's, life is not easy. And it's a business, career, everything. It's a marathon. It's not a short sprint. So, life is gonna throw like what do they say? Lemon at you, turn it into a limoncello. Just have fun. Enjoy the moment. Even those moments that are hard, turn those moments into a learning experience and just have fun.
Okay. I said I wasn't gonna fangirl, so I'm just gonna move right along. The story is so inspiring, and like you said, it started a long time ago. So you've seen the industry change. Like the digital media age is, the fact that people didn't know what NYX was is a testament to the fact that in the digital media age, it got all this attention. So the beauty industry has obviously changed. There's new players. It's oversaturated with a lot of things, but it's also brought to light a lot of different voices, communities. So what do you love about the industry now? What excites you?
Yeah, so when I started, first of all, there was no YouTube, there was no Instagram, and in 2007, when YouTube was like really gaining its popularity, there wasn't even a term that was called an influencer. So influencer is a term that's been developed maybe over 4 or 5 years ago, and on YouTube, I saw immediately an effect that it had on consumer branding and marketing. We had this item that was selling really low, and we were going to discontinue this item. And I don't know if you guys ever use JEP. It's called the Milk Eye Pencil that a lot of people use as an eyeshadow base. That item was actually on the discontinue list because we were selling so little of it. Then one day, it just started to sell out of nowhere. Like, from selling maybe 1,000 pieces a year to 10,000, 50,000. It was just crazy. And that's when I realized the power of YouTube, because these makeup artists, they were doing a tutorial on YouTube using a milk eyeliner. It's actually an eyeshadow pencil, but then it's white base and it has a really tacky texture. So it was really great holding on to the pigments, right? So I was like, and then that's when I went, oh my God, ding, 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 this is amazing. This is the a marketing platform that is bigger than anything on this planet. And so I started to immediately gift all the YouTubers. And then Instagram came along. I think it was like 2011 or 2012. I was in Thailand with my product development person. And she said, oh my God, there's this thing called an Instagram. You take picture and you post. And I looked at her, I'm like, that's so stupid. Like who's got time to do that? And
Everybody.
look at Instagram now. It's the most influential marketing platform for branding on this planet. Literally, there's nothing more important than Instagram right now. So I'm very grateful for this community because my brand had, we grew on social media. So I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful. And I'm so happy now that all the the big players, like the big guys, the L'Oreals, that were Estee Lauders, are recognizing this, and they're actually putting their dollars towards this industry because it's a lot of work. I mean, like I've seen some of the influencers and the time they invest in filming and editing, and the impact that it has on the marketing. So, I'm very happy to see these changes in this market.
Yeah, I mean, one of the core values of this event that we bring to the table is we celebrate social media and digital media. Of course, there's, the trolls of the internet and the not so good stuff, but as with everything, and the opportunity to come together through social media and build businesses, if you can attest to it from from up here to down here, then we can certainly work our way up. So that's very inspiring to hear.
Absolutely. And if within the last 5 years, the quality of the products of all the brands has gone up significantly because they can't lie to consumers anymore.
Right.
Because the YouTubers are there telling the truth, and then the Instagrammers are telling the truth. So this is good for
business.
Everybody.
Yeah. So let's ask a little bit less of a businessy question. What is the best piece of advice that you have ever received?
Yeah, so this was during when I was selling my company. There's a lot of parties involved when you sell a company, right? There's the attorney, there's your CEO, your CFO, the investor, and everybody's like 24/7, 24/7. And I was to a point where I'm just gonna fire everybody and start all over because I was so and it's a lot. It's you don't just go and sell a company in one day. It's like 6-month process, and there's a lot of emotion that runs through you. It's something that you created. Now you're realizing, yes, you're gonna get great money for it, but you're not gonna be part of it anymore. It's not yours anymore. So there's a lot of emotions that goes through, and at that moment when I was like, oh my God, I'm just gonna fire everybody and start fresh. I have spoken to a friend who's exited a business before, and she's really amazing. And this is the advice that she gave me that saved the entire transaction, actually. She said, Toni, what is your goal? I said, my goal is to sell the company. And she said, then shut up and just focus on your goal. You're in a tunnel. Just focus at the end of the tunnel, and everything else around is a noise.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It's just noise. So don't listen to anything. And just focus on the goal. And I thought that was the most amazing amazing advice. And from that point on, I closed the transaction within 3 weeks. So, yeah.
That's hard advice to take, but seems simple. Another thing I wanted to ask you, obviously, you're a woman, you're an Asian American woman, you were 25. Obviously, there were some challenges. What's the biggest challenge you've ever faced?
Yeah, so when I started the business, it was 1999, and the business environment was very different back then. Right now, there's a lot of tech companies, and there's a lot of young entrepreneurs, so it's not that hard or difficult to hear of a 25-year-old entrepreneur who sold a business or a 21-year-old starting a business. It's pretty common. But in 1999, 20-year-olds just did not start a business. And majority, I say 99.9% were all men. So, I mean, I had every single reason to fail. I'm Asian, I'm female, minority, and English is my second language. I don't come from money, middle class family. I wasn't professionally trained. I don't have an MBA. Literally, I had every single reason to fail. And people have straight up told me that. And there was a time I went to a trade show to buy merchandise. And I saw an interesting item, and I had asked, how much is this? And I literally had a pretty woman moment where the salesperson, she looked at me and she goes, oh, we only do wholesale. And I was like, I'm not here to buy one piece. Like, what makes you think like I would pay, like, come to a trade show trying to buy one piece? But, she's judged by just looking at me, right? So, but even those moments, like, I take those moments to motivate me to be a better person, to be a better entrepreneur, to be more successful. And, as long as you have that mindset, then you're good. Yeah, you could succeed in anything as long as you have that mindset.
So what's next? Can you share anything? Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
have some plans?
Yeah, so I sold a company because I wanted to retire. Like, I was turning 40 that year I sold a company, and I had like a life epiphany. I was like, I looked at my life, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm not married, I don't have children. I've like literally, like, I'm married to the company, and this is my child. I had no life, I have no friends, I work all the time. I'm always on the road for work. I keep 2 sets of luggage. And when I buy something, I buy 3 of everything. So one's at home, and one each for the 2 sets of luggage. And it's kind of a constant rotation. And a lot of people think like, oh my God, you get to travel. They think it's glamorous, but actually, like, all the glamorous business that you might think, right? Like the fashion business or like the beauty business. When you're actually working, it is very unglamorous, and it's really hard work, a lot of hard work. So I wanted to retire. Like, I just wanted to like sit by the beach and drink margarita all day long and not have to like think about anything. Like, no more signing checks, no more signing contracts. I was like, I'm so done. So I sold the company, and then I retire for 2 days.
2 days. She's like, I'm taking a sabbatical. I was like,
I was so depressed actually after I sold my company, and I was for about 6 months I was clinically depressed. I had to go see a therapist because when you were so attached to something and you're no longer attached to it, you lose your identity. So I woke up one day, and the next day was the weirdest day because I woke up, I got in the shower, and then like I have shampoo in my hair, and like, oh shit, I have no place to go to. And I was like, wait a minute. And that's like when it like really hit me. And then like it was kind of like a downward spiral. Oh my God, like, what is my life? What is my purpose right now? So because we are all looking for that life's purpose, right? And then, once you have it, it's kind of not as exciting as when you didn't have it. So yeah.
That's good
so,
advice.
Yeah. So yeah, and I realized that I was looking for that work-life balance. But my work-life balance is work. So, to each own their own, right?
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's totally okay too. So I'm the happiest when I'm
you're
working and when I'm creating. I'm the most satisfied when I'm working and when I'm creating. And literally, when I go to work, it's not going to work. It's like I'm going to a play city all day
Right.
long. Like,
Where you make money.
yeah.
Tons of money.
Well, sometimes you make money and sometimes you don't, actually, because
Back in the day, but now
yeah.
you're good.
So yeah, I think I
mean-
went off, but
No, I mean, you all are here gathered today on a Saturday where you should be relaxing, and you're getting inspired to probably go out and pursue something that's going to take up tons of time in your life. So I think that we can all say that that's cool. We're good with that. So I think we have time for one question.
Hi, Toni. Thank you so much for imparting this knowledge to all of us. I have a question. I have several questions, but well, first of all, I was wondering that you had a $250,000 investment from your parents. How did you allocate that budget?
okay. So that was an investment. Oh God, my mother. She's a very smart woman. She employed me for free for like 13 years or something, and then now
Genius.
she's turned me into her 409k. So all of that actually went to buying inventory. because I didn't have any expense. So when you start a business, you have to make some sort of a sacrifice, right? So I was making money the first year. I was already a millionaire by the year one because I sold like $2 million worth of merchandise. But I knew because of my parents, we're immigrants, we've worked our way up, and I always know how hard it is to make money, but how easy it is to spend it. So when you make your first million, you cannot go out and spend it like you're a rock star. Invest that money. It's like a fruit, right? If you take a fruit off a tree and eat it, the fruit's gone. But if you harvest the seed and plant it, you'll get more trees and more fruits. So the first 3 years, I lived at home with my mom. I was driving the car that I've always had. I didn't buy a new car, and I didn't have employee the first year. So my cost of operation was like tiny, like literally tiny. I was paying rent, maybe like $1,200 rent. It was at California Mart, and that was, and like buying office supplies, paper and paper clips and stuff like that. That was like literally my entire expense. So all of that money went into inventory, and when I bought that inventory, when I sold it, I bought more merchandise. So continued investing.
And I think we had one more hand.
Hi, Tony. I also am in the same position where I kind of am babying my business. I do a lot, and I know that at one point I'm going to have to start expanding and working with someone. How did you, I guess, handle trying to collaborate more with the employees you employ, trying to make sure they share the same vision as you because it's your baby, the one that you definitely sweat and cried ugly for?
Yeah, the only way you could do it is by leading by example. Just because you have staff and you have employee does not mean that you're working less. You're actually working more. More employees you have, more responsibilities you have, because now you're responsible for their livelihood. And it may be just that one guy who's working at a warehouse, but he might have, probably does have, family that he supports, children. So it's more responsibility. So therefore, you have to work harder when you have employee. Actually, when you don't have any employee and you're like a one-person company, it's so much easier. One answer is lead by example. 2 is work harder than before.
I think we have to conclude our conversation and our questions, but Toni, thank you so much. And we thank you just so much for coming to our event.
Thank you for having me. So nice to meet you all.